So it's pretty obvious by now, even if they haven't come out directly and said everything, that the Avengers are going to be much different 5 years from now than they are today, and than they were 5 years ago when the Avengers was of course coming out to theaters. Now, how different exactly? We don't really know. We can definitely tell that Iron Man's trilogy is over. Captain America is over. Thor is going to wrap up with Thor Ragnarok. Hulk is definitely not getting any standalone movies anytime soon, and there is a new wave of heroes entering the MCU. We of course know that Ant-Man is probably going to get a full-on trilogy, as his first movie was a huge success among fans, critics, and the box office take. We of course know that Doctor Strange later on this year is going to have his first standalone movie, with the rumored 5 to 6 movie contract that Benedict Cumberbatch has signed, which would obviously be 2 more Doctor Strange and a couple more Avengers movies. We know that Tom Holland is about to kick off his own Spider-Man series. We of course know that the Guardians of the Galaxy are at least going to have one more movie after the second one, which of course also means that their appearances in Avengers Infinity War will count for something. And then of course we know that we are going to be getting a brand new wave such as Captain Marvel and Black Panther, both coming out with standalone movies, which will probably all evolve into actual trilogies, and the Inhumans are still slated for the beginning of Phase 4. Now, of course, the only exception here might be Sebastian Stan, who is, of course, the Winter Soldier, as he still has 7 more movies remaining on his contract. So he's going to be in this for the long haul, so we might see Captain America come back, although he would be, no longer Chris Evans, and it would be starring Sebastian Stan. So IGN recently actually got to talk to Anthony Russo, one half of the directors of Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, and of course the Infinity War movie coming out, and he said, "I can't get into too much detail about who we're introducing, but these 2 movies are intended to be the culmination of everything that has happened in the MCU since the very first Iron Man movie. In being a culmination, these movies are in some way going to be the end of certain things, and in some ways they're going to be the beginning of certain things." Now obviously we already know that Avengers Infinity War is going to introduce us to Captain Marvel. That's a no-brainer, that's why she was announced so early, and we've already kind of had a confirmation that she was going to be one of the characters introduced to set up her own solo film, much like Black Panther was in Captain America Civil War along with Spider-Man. So obviously with talking about this, we already know that the Avengers team have evolved. When you look at the teams post Captain America Civil War, Tony Stark has his own team, which has Vision, which obviously has Spider-Man, who's very young. Then you look at Captain America's Secret Avengers, and that's a complete another version of the team. So we already have 2 distinct versions, and it makes sense that they are going to change drastically as the movies go on down the road, much like they have from 1 to 2, and it looks like 2 to 3. And when asked about choosing, who gets to go where and who to focus on in these movies, they had to say, "It's a bit of both, because you always have to make sure that your choices feel organic to the storytelling, and really, you have to sort of structure them in a way that they need to be there." Essentially what he's saying here is you can't just throw characters in the movie for no goddamn reason. The reason Spider-Man worked, the reason Black Panther worked in Civil War is because they felt organic to the story, they had a purpose, and their reasoning for being there all made sense. You can't just throw this character in there for no reason, be like, well, we need them here because they have to set up their own movie. That's just not how it works. And he adds, you have to have them or they shouldn't be in the movie. It's a little bit of a dance between the 2. When you have big eyes and you want everybody included in the movie, but you have to go through the process of what's the best story that you can tell. Essentially what he's saying is use your eyes and be the best judge of it. You know what's best. Now I think everybody's had this moment where you're so hungry and you go to a restaurant and you're like, man, I'm gonna eat like 5 of those goddamn giant burgers that they have right there. I'm gonna eat like 5, but you're realistically like, okay, I'm gonna eat 2. So you order 2 of them, and then you eat 1 and the french fries, and you take like 2 bites out of the second one and you put it down, and you're like, oh man, my eyes were hungrier than I was. That's pretty much what he's saying here is, they have the entire MCU at their disposal, they can use it, but what's Jessica Jones really gonna do in Avengers Infinity War other than make a cameo unless you have an organic story for her to be involved in. You know, what's Daredevil going to do? What's Spider-Man going to do? What's Doctor Strange going to do? These characters have to have a place and time in being used in this movie, or they're useless to the movie because they're just a glorified cameo. And we've seen this in other movies, and it kind of devalues the movies, and the critics can notice it. So definitely I like what they're saying here. I cannot wait to see this movie. Everything they're saying is awesome, and I can't wait to see the Avengers lineup for Avengers 4. You guys let me know your thoughts on all this down below.